please introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about the Amazon Kindle.
Yes. My name is David Risher, and I am the co-founder of worldreader.org. We are a new non-governmental organization whose goal is to work with e-reader manufacturers in the United States and the rest of the world to make buying a book and getting a book in Ghana as easy as getting a phone call.
So far you've been here doing a trial, a 2-week trial. You've spent 1 week. How has the trial gone for you? What has been the experience with the children like?
We've been here in Ghana now for 1 week, beginning a 2-week trial, and we're working with P6 level students thanks to the work of Orphan Aid Africa and their community center here in Ameyaw. The students have loved this, and they've said it feels to them like using a mobile phone, but at the same time they're reading a book. We weren't sure when we came here, because this is a device that's really developed right now mostly for the United States and for Europe. We weren't sure whether students here would enjoy the experience of reading on a screen like this. But what we found is that the students are very, very enthusiastic about it. And there's nothing better than watching them at the end of reading a book with a big smile on their face, very excited of having read a book on this.
Working in a community such as this, where even access to computer technology might be a problem, and coming in with an e-book, how has been the transition from the regular book into an e-book been like for the kids? Do they know straightforward, or you have to do extra training on how to use the equipment?
We spent about an hour with the students for the first day of the trial, and then another hour with the students on the second day, helping them get comfortable with it. And they pick it up very fast. In some ways, kids are faster at learning new things than adults because they don't have so much history behind them of doing things one way. Now we've come back at the end of the first week and spent another hour with them. So we've spent maybe 3 or maybe 4 hours with the students helping them get comfortable with it. And that's been very easy. We've also worked with a member of Orphan Aid Africa's staff who's technical with an IT degree to help the students if they have any technical problems with it, if the battery runs out. You know, one of the nice things about a device like this is after 1 hour of charging it, it lasts for 2 weeks on a single battery charge. But even then, sometimes the battery will run out unexpectedly and it needs to be recharged. In this village, we use solar power and wind power to charge batteries, which then charge this. And again, it takes about an hour to charge one.
So, do you think for a community such as this, it's going to be cost-effective to run a project like this, an e-book run project like this, or it's better to go to the traditional books that the people are used to? Because first you need the equipment, you need to go and download. Do you think the process of getting the e-book and just advise us against the traditional books, do you think it's cost effective?
I think there's room for both. The transportation of this device is the same as transportation of a book. It costs the same for me to send this to you as it does for me to send you a book. But once you have this, the distribution cost of additional books is zero. It costs nothing. It goes over the internet, and someday it will go over the GSM network. So from that cost perspective, this is much less expensive. From an upfront perspective, it's much more expensive because this device itself is still expensive. It costs about $250 in the United States. But it's worth noting that 2 years ago, when they were first introduced in the United States, they cost $400. And I suspect in the next 2 to 3 years, they will cost less than $100. One of the things we're trying to do is drive down the price of that and help find donors to help subsidize the price of that for communities like this community and for all of Ghana. So that in the short term, the price of this won't be a factor. And in the long term, the cost will be low enough where they're accessible to all and with a much, much larger selection of books than people have ever had access to before.
So, have you considered, in a community such as Ghana, have you considered partnering with people, governments, to provide content that is in tune with our curriculum, and then maybe partnership with local publishers? Have you?
Yes.
met any of that, and how is it going?
Yes, yes, we have met with primarily with government officials to make sure they're supportive of the project, and they're very excited about the prospects of making books more accessible to their communities. Publishers, we know, will be enthusiastic about it after we get enough of these into people's hands where they have a large market, frankly. So we're quite convinced that it's important to work with local publishers to get both English language and local language content onto this in the coming years.
So when they get the content ready, is it you going to make it available on the ebook, or because obviously they are printing it in ordinary books, or
Correct.
so you do the conversion to ebooks,
That's
or
right.
okay.
Yes, in the short term, we will help with the conversion to ebooks ourselves, and we'll find ways to finance that and to make it inexpensive in the future for publishers to do it themselves. It's an easy process, but as you say, today all of their energy goes towards printing physical books, and it will require time to turn some of that energy into focusing on digital books like this.
So after the trial in Ghana, what next for Amazon Kindle and then the organization, the Read,
The World Reader.
World Read,
World Reader.
Readership?
Well, World Reader right now is quite committed to working within both Ghana and then exploring other countries in Africa. We feel this is a good place for us to start because of Ghana's commitment to education and its commitment to good governance. And we've learned so much over this last week and have gotten so enthusiastic ourselves that we really hope we can do something very significant in Ghana. As we do that, we're learning about markets and about communities all across the continent of Africa. Of course, that's a large continent with many countries and many, many different characteristics, and that will take a while. And so our focus now really is within Ghana, but we hope over the coming months and years this will be something that is available to people all over the continent of Africa and all over the developing world.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.